Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Lightning Racing Emperor pulled his chains back in shock. Defeat. Lightning Racing Emperor couldn't believe it. He thought this was the human who ran from Bone Emperor. His chain was a treasure he had obtained after countless battles in Ice Hell, and it was mighty. It could be divided into several chains, and the separate ones could be combined into one. Combine. The chains around the arms of Lightning Racing Emperor instantly touched and shrank, becoming one ordinary, rusty chain. Howl. The phantom of Beast God charged him roaring, and the tail that was longer than the original body made the Beast God anxious. Whip of Thunder. Lightning Racing Emperor waved the chain in his hand, growling. The chain gradually pierced space, and the speed of time in different areas was changing, created by the exterminating power formed by the disorderly time attached to the chain. The seemingly slow chain actually moved faster than the phantom. The void was cracking. The tail quickly slashed the phantom like lightning and forcefully hit the chain. One was the exterminating power of thunder and time, and the chain was more fit for thunder and space. The other was the might power of gold and space. Each of the 16 stars was worth as much as the chain, and the 16 stars were combined into one after merging into the map. Hong. The chain was hit away while the tail was quick as lightning, sweeping through Lightning Racing Emperor. The Emperor could not outpace the phantom, and his godly body was cracked by the tail. The 16 stars were dimming around the tail, and his godly body eroded when it touched those stars. Damn. The body of Lightning Racing Emperor gathered, and he pulled back the chain, glaring at Luo Feng. I'll never forget this, human. Lightning Racing Emperor turned into a beam of light and wanted to flee. I won't let you flee that easy. Luo Feng couldn't keep up with him from such distance. However, he exercised his spiritual force, and the Beast God surpassed Lightning Racing Emperor and blocked him. The terrific tail slashed toward Lightning Racing Emperor. Goddamn human. You made me do it. Lightning Racing Emperor roared, and the power became hundreds of times stronger. It crushed the Beast God and the 16 stars were blasted away. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The creatures watching the battle stealthily were dazed. Lightning Racing Emperor is burning his body. Lightning Racing Emperor is forced to burn his own body. Luo Feng, who could barely flee from Bone Emperor 100 years ago, left Lightning Racing Emperor no choice but to run away. This was outrageous. Interesting. Now the human has to burn his godly body. Lightning Racing Emperor's power surged, and the human is only as powerful as, if not more powerful than Lightning Racing God. He needs to burn his own body to match Lightning Racing Emperor. That human is as stupid as one can be. Just let the Emperor run away if he wants to. He's forcing each other to engage in a deadly fight by stopping him. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng was shocked. Lightning Racing Emperor was burning his body, whereas he wasn't able to do the same. You can go now, Lightning Racing Emperor. Luo Feng shook his wings and fled like a beam of tortuous light. At the same time, the 16 stars flew back to Luo Feng's palm. Goddamn human. Lightning Racing Emperor held the chain and smashed everything with his hoofs. The void kept cracking, charging Luo Feng incredibly quickly. Shio, shio, shio. Tortuous Loki appeared in the sky. Once Luo Feng reached his speed limit and began changing his directions instantly, he was extraordinarily fast. One could see that the distance between Lightning Racing Emperor and Luo Feng was getting larger. No matter how Lightning Racing Emperor burned his body, he still failed to catch up with Luo Feng in terms of explosivity. It's impossible. How is this possible? The first in Ice Hell. The first in Ice Hell. It was an eye-opener to all the creatures. It's too late for you to flee now. Lightning Racing Emperor was furious and kept chasing Luo Feng. He wanted to exercise the move time stop. However, Luo Feng was running farther and farther away, and he wasn't sure whether it would work or not. Time stop was almighty. However, there were severe limitations to it. For space, it couldn't be affected, no matter how fierce the combat was. As for time stop, it was different. Once time stop was imposed on a certain district, all the lives would be affected, except the soul and the conscious. Everything else would be fettered, and it would take a long time to break away, which gave the imposer adequate time to kill the opponent. Exercising time stop first and killing the opponent who was not able to move. How incredible was that? However, firstly, it would cause severe backslash from the opponent's bodies and weapons, and he must be able to narrow the time stop district. The smaller the district was, the stronger the effect would be imposed on the human. Secondly, he must impose it in the enemy's region. Nevertheless, Luo Feng was a spirit reader, and he was always releasing his spiritual force. Once Luo Feng detected Lightning Racing Emperor's godly power, he would be alerted. And Lightning Racing Emperor was not able to exercise time stop in time to make sure Luo Feng stayed in the ideal region. He was burning his godly body, and his power was surging. As a result, Lightning Racing Emperor was able to impose time stop on the larger region. However, Luo Feng was sharp-witted enough to run as far away as possible. It was more difficult to impose time stop from such a long distance, especially under the great pressure in Ice Hell. Wicked human. Lightning Racing Emperor was furious. He didn't intend to kill the human. Instead, he was only meant to force the human to burn his body without expecting that he wouldn't even do that. Damn. Lightning Racing Emperor turned into a beam of light and vanished. In northern Ice Hell, inside the palace on the peak of the iceberg, the one in the throne stood up. "Are you serious?" said Silver Eye. "I'm not lying, Master," said his servant. "The human is fighting Lightning Racing Emperor right now. We need to go immediately. The fight will be over if we arrive late." The servant was urging Silver Eye to hurry. He didn't even want to waste another second in talking because he knew how fast the battle could be. Silver Eye grabbed the servant. "Lead me there." "Yes, Master." The servant teleported them to the battlefield. Above Ice Sea, all the powerful creatures had already gone back to their homes. The battle left them with nothing but shock. "He was able to defeat Lightning Racing Emperor and forced him to burn his body," said one onlooker. The most unbelievable thing was that he ran away successfully without even burning his own body. Lightning Racing Emperor must be deranged. The 10 top limit emperors, each of them being equally powerful, had never run into any defeats. This time, it was a major defeat for this emperor. The human is so fast. Lightning Racing Emperor can't reach him even by burning his body. While the creatures were returning to their homes, they felt a dreadful energy wave, which made them look up to the ice. A snow-white figure was floating in the sky, sending out a power that overwhelmed those creatures. Silver Eye. It's Silver Eye, Master of Northern Ice Hell. Silver Eye. Those powerful creatures who had lived in Ice Hell for an infinite amount of time had forgotten a lot about the world outside. The only thing they knew was the 5 invincible emperors, Silver Eye being one of most ghastly. According to a rumor, any creature except the other 4 invincible emperors would meet certain death if they saw his Silver Eye. Fortunately, Silver Eye knew that he couldn't gather enough tags, even if he killed all those weaker than him, because most of the tags were distributed among the 5 invincible emperors. Besides, he didn't want Ice Hell to be boring. That's why he ignored the weak. Luo Feng was sighing. The distinction between the powerful ones inside and outside Ice Hell is manifested in Lightning Racing Emperor. Powerful creatures like him must own several treasures, at least one of them being a shield. His body wouldn't be broken by my stars that easily if he had a shielding treasure. However, there are significantly fewer treasures in Ice Hell, and they were all brought by the powerful ones. Luo Feng was prepared to fly away, thinking to himself. However, a mighty force spread. Luo Feng looked up. A 30-meter-tall god dressed in white armor was standing in the void afar. There was a giant scar on his forehead, but his eyes were missing. His utter desolateness was emanating, and Luo Feng could feel gloominess from him merely standing there. Space froze. Silver Eye. Luo Feng said, terrified. One of the 5 invincible emperors. Silver Eye. Special life Silver Eye. He had already known how petrifying Silver Eye was. However, the moment Luo Feng actually saw him, out of nowhere, a great sense of danger rose. Silver Eye stood afar and said in a tranquil voice, "Human, give me the anonymous account to the virtual universe or die." His black-armored servant was standing behind him in awe. White-armored Silver Eye stood in the sky, waiting for Luo Feng's answer. Luo Feng felt like he was in danger, but he looked up at Silver Eye keenly and said, "I don't have an anonymous account. Will you let me go? I'll kill you and check your world ring." Silver Eye overlooked Luo Feng and said nonchalantly, "You don't trust me?" Luo Feng said, "I don't trust anyone but my servants in Ice Hell," Silver Eye said slowly. The black-armored servant glared at Luo Feng and yelled, "Hand over the anonymous sensor now, human, or Master will kill you. Don't tell us you don't have the sensor. We don't believe you." Luo Feng nodded. "Yes, I have the sensor." Silver Eye looked more aggressive. "But I don't want to give it to you." Luo Feng smirked and showed his teeth. "You want to die, The servant roared. It seems you're craving for death, Silver Eye said in a deep voice. I'll die just because you said so. Luo Feng glared at Silver Eye, and he could feel his blood boiling. He was filled with belligerence. He wasn't a chicken when he had faced the golden horned beast before. And he dared to steal the black metal knowing that both the Green Knight and the Purple Knight were there. Right now, he had 3 invaluable treasures, together with armor and General Soul Auxiliary. What was more, the Beast God had reached level 20, and he had created his own secret technique. How was it possible that he would run away without a fight just because Silver Eye was only an invincible emperor? How was it possible that he would hand over the anonymous censor just because he was asked to do so? Silver Eye was being delusional. Fight. 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 Luo Feng kept glaring at Silver Eye and smirked. Silver Eye, I came to Ice Hell to fight each of the powerful creatures. Now that the top 10 peak emperors are no longer a threat, you 5 invincible ones are my major target. I'll fight all 5 of you, and you're the first one. You're not afraid of death. Silver Eye's eyes were closed the whole time. He acted as if each inch of his skin were examining the surroundings. You can't kill me, Luo Feng yelled. Luo Feng wasn't anxious at all. Instead, he was excited and proud. He remembered how he became an apprentice to True Yang Emperor when he first stepped into Chaos City. After 10,000 years, he was now fighting Silver Eye, who was True Yang Emperor's equal. This was the first time he would fight someone so powerful. Come. Show me how powerful the legendary Invincible Emperor is, Luo Feng was shouting inside. Show me how strong this so-called special creature is, he said. Luo Feng's mental faculties were strengthening and concentrating. Only this sort of fight could harden him. As you wish, Silver Eye said mildly. He waved his transparent palm while his slave was looking at Luo Feng with pity. His hands looked like diamonds, and the moment he waved his hands, Luo Feng felt the shape change in the area. Luo Feng shook his wings and tried to escape while summoning the 16 black balls. Tens of thousands of threads started to connect the balls and formed the phantom of the beast god. There's no way you can escape, Silver Eye's voice was still echoing. An enormous palm was formed. The ice crystal palm turned around and tried to slap Luo Feng. What is this? Attack of space law? Luo Feng manipulated the phantom to strike the palm while dodging it with Sho Wu Wing. The scene dazed Luo Feng. He recalled the ancient panorama he had seen in Blood River World, and one of them depicted how the palm was cracked by the tail of the beast god. Apparently, the two on the panorama were much more powerful than Luo Feng and Silver Eye, as one of them was the real beast god and the other was the great creature that defeated the beast god. However, there were lots of similarities between the two fights. The phantom fiercely brandished its scale-covered tail to defend against the diamond palm. The tail whipped the diamond palm like a thunder. Both of them were more than 1,000 meters long, and the clash caused a blast. The phantom and the palm trembled at the same time. The phantom broke apart, and the 16 black balls swiftly flew toward Luo Feng. As for the palm, it cracked like ice. Silver Eye, proficient at time law and having learned law of space, Luo Feng marveled. He is much better at the time law than law of space, but he can still wield such power utilizing the law of space. Incredible. Luo Feng could feel how forceful Silver Eye was. His body constitution was tens of millions of times more powerful than that of Sector Lords, and his move was exquisite. A simple strike could suppress the most powerful attack from Luo Feng's treasure, which stemmed from his intense training. Silver Eye exhaled, good of you to take the first strike. Now I see why you're so arrogant. Not arrogant but confident, said Luo Feng. Stop bragging and show me your best move, Silver Eye. Luo Feng opened his wings and stood afar. Okay. Silver Eye faced Luo Feng. He felt like he was being stared at by countless eyes even though Silver Eye still hadn't opened his eyes. A crystal finger showed up right in front of Luo Feng out of nowhere. The whole space had been solidified, thus, Luo Feng couldn't teleport himself. Obviously, Silver Eye excelled in the flow of time. Just when Luo Feng was trying to close his wings, an invisible wave spread across the entire area. Luo Feng couldn't move a muscle. It was time stop. It's time stop, said Luo Feng. I was hit. Pathetic, Silver Eye sighed and tried to pierce Luo Feng with the diamond finger. Break, break, break. Luo Feng's mental faculties went wild and emboldened his entire body. Sho Wu Wing, the star map, and Tower Pearl were all trembling. Under Luo Feng's spiritual force, which was stronger than most of the Universe Knights, the treasures broke loose from the constraint. Break. Luo Feng roared in his mind. Sho Wu Wing warded off the finger. Luo Feng bounced off like a meteor under the terrific shockwave. Luo Feng was relieved. Lucky that I can break away from time stop. Silver Eye is cunning. The giant palm and crystal finger were both formed by the godly power from afar, which made me less careful about the force around me. That's how the move worked. Thoughts flooded Luo Feng's mind. Of course, the main reason time stop worked on me was his power. Although his force was permeating, his main force still remained around his finger, which was far away from me. He was actually able to exercise time stop, and it went into effect, which means he is much stronger than Lightning Racing Emperor. I've never met any stronger barbarian creature in practice. Just as Luo Feng was shocked, Silver Eye and his slave were equally amazed. He dodged it. The servant couldn't believe it. I can't even remember how many powerful creatures have died because of Master's Death God's point, yet he managed to dodge it. He's even able to break from Master's time stop. How is this possible? In the distance, all the creatures watching in various places were shocked to their very cores. They weren't all that surprised when Luo Feng withstood the slap. After all, he was powerful enough to suppress Lightning Racing Emperor. However, when Luo Feng held out against his point, Death God's point, the Death God's point of Silver Eye. Though Silver Eye knew of law of space, he's actually proficient in time law. His Death God's point is a move mixed with both time attack and soul attack. It starts with time stop, and the finger contains a soul-eroding attack that corrodes the enemy's soul in secret, after which the enemy won't be able to fight back. The human is powerful enough to resist Death God's point. The two moves Silver Eye uses to roam Ice Hell, one of them being Death God's point, the other being Silver Stare, pose a threat even to the other 4 invincible emperors. Maybe we can see that move today. Pathetic human. If Silver Eye opens his eyes, the human will be doomed. Silver Eye was also amazed. That ordinary point was one of his secret techniques. He had aced the move time stop, and that soul-eroding move was insidious. However, the human was capable of breaking loose of time stop in such a short time. And that crystal finger was not having an effect on the human, even though it touched him and began eroding his soul. Luo Feng floated in the sky with his wings open. Cunning move, indeed. Unfortunately, it's of no use. Silver Eye, show me your other moves. Although attacking skills were his shortcoming, he had extraordinary defending abilities. He had robust body defense power, and his soul defense was even stronger. Luo Feng thought, although I was not able to charge him as he does, I can protect myself with no problem. Human, you're indeed strong, Silver Eye said slowly. I'll leave if you can survive this. All the other creatures hit by this move have died except the other 4 invincible emperors. This is Silver Stare. The crack on his forehead slowly opened, changing the speed of time and trembling space. His mighty body affected the flow of time around him, and the energy wave he created trembled space when he exercised his top move. His silvery white eyes had no pupils. He was staring at Luo Feng. The space continued to crack because of the eye's godly power. An eye appeared on Silver Eye's transparent body inch by inch, and his entire body not inside the armor was covered with eyes. The most powerful of all the eyes was the one on his face, with a silvery halo around it. The invisible, godly power rammed into Luo Feng's body. The second the eye was opened. No wonder I felt I was being stared at by Silver Eye. What kind of special creature is he? This thought struck Luo Feng the second he saw the silvery eye, and the power hit his body after piercing through Sho Wu Wing and his general armor. Silver Eye's gaze was still terrifically powerful. The beast god roared, but it couldn't stand against this attack in the slightest. It pierced through Luo Feng's soul. Luo Feng suddenly fell into a state of illusion. Does he want to deceive me with this illusion? How ridiculous. Break. Luo Feng had an incredibly strong will, which helped him break out of the illusion without even trying. The scene around him vanished, and he entered nature. An illusion again. Break. Still an illusion. Break. Luo Feng was strong-minded and broke through one illusion after another. However, the illusion formed as fast as he could escape it, and it just kept forming. Luo Feng felt like he had fallen into an infinite loop of illusions, as if he had spent millions of years inside. This is not just any illusion. I've never heard of any illusion like this, and that move was so unusual. I reckon it's his top-secret technique. Luo Feng had fallen into the illusion for a significant amount of time, but he still remained tranquil. His will was sharpened, and it was firm. His top-secret technique is supposed to be intricate. It's impossible for creatures to train themselves to be able to exercise moves like split and strengthen of the golden horned beast. His top-secret technique is something I've never seen before. Although Luofeng was trapped in the infinite illusions, he was not in a rush, as he knew only a second had passed outside the illusion by connecting to the golden horned beast body. Of course, he wouldn't have been able to do that without his firm will. He would have been confused, otherwise. After exercising the move, all the eyes on Silver Eye's diamond skin disappeared, and the crack on his forehead closed. This was the secret technique, and there were only two ways to break out of it. The first required mighty, godly power or soul-protecting treasure. In Luofeng's case, he could certainly use Tower Pearl to break it. The second required one to break all the illusions one by one without falling. That made for an extremely long time within the illusion, whereas in reality, it was only a blink of an eye. Infinite loop, said Silver Eye. If he indulges himself, his will is going to crumble, and his soul will collapse. One has to go through desolateness to break each of these illusions and can't give himself a break. Hundreds of thousands of years is enough to bend even the strongest will. Silver Eye was pretty proud of his move. This was, indeed, an extraordinary move. It was much more terrifying than being detained in Ice Hell, because in Ice Hell, one could still hide in his comfort zone, whereas one couldn't rest at all in the illusion. Actually, this move resembled the move Inheritance of Life and Death that Luofeng had endured before, which was more difficult, as he couldn't even think during such an impasse. Just when Silver Eye closed his eyes, Luofeng opened his. You. The eyes were dimming on Silver Eye's skin. How is this possible? The servant screamed, this is impossible. Nobody other than the other 4 invincible emperors survived this, and the other 2 burned their godly bodies to withstand it. How did you hold out against it as a human? How long did you spend in the infinite loop? Silver Eye asked. The infinite loop of illusions? Luofeng answered. 10,000 eras. 10,000 eras? You survived 10,000 eras of loneliness and struggles. Silver Eye was a bit amazed. I must say that I'm impressed. Not that much of a struggle, though, said Luofeng, smiling. When Luofeng had been under Inheritance of Life and Death, he had suffered much more terribly for 6,000 years, and he had walked between life and death countless times. In fact, Luofeng chose to survive this without Tower Pearl for a reason, which was to sharpen his will. After an infinite amount of time in the illusion, he didn't feel lost at all. In contrast, he was sober. Those old creatures were as ancient as the universe, and living that long granted each of them an unbending will. Luofeng wouldn't give up an opportunity like this. I'm indeed impressed, Silver Eye nodded. Now that you've survived 3 of my moves, I promise that I won't kill you. I took 3 of your moves. Luofeng grinned. Now, it's your time to take my move. One of the world rings carried by Luofeng suddenly cracked, and an aggressive vibe emanated from it. An ancient, purple clock floated beside Luofeng, and Jihong Emperor inside was already burning his godly body. The forceful energy was injected into the purple clock. The visible wave charged Silver Eye at the speed of light. At the same time, Luofeng threw out 8 stars covered with Famo venom. The demon sound was so fast that Silver Eye couldn't manage to dodge it. His body cracked, then instantly started to heal. However, 8 traces of light pierced through the body and started to corrode it, after which it flew back to Luofeng. Let's go. Luofeng grabbed Jihong Emperor II after he threw out the 8 black balls, shook his wings, and escaped as fast as possible. The 8 black balls flew towards Luofeng quickly and went back to Luofeng's palms in a moment. Master, he just played you, the black-armored servant said furiously. We can't let him go. Silver Eye's godly body healed completely while Luofeng fled. He smiled. I said that I wouldn't hunt him again if he could survive my move, said Silver Eye. Besides, how am I supposed to chase him? He has run far, and I can't stop him by pausing time. The servant was dazed. That's right. The human was the fastest in Ice Hell. Even the 5 invincible emperors couldn't match him. Then we're supposed to let it go. The servant found this hard to believe, as he had never seen his master taken advantage of. I attacked him 3 times, whereas he attacked me once, replied Silver Eye. I wasn't taken advantage of. However, that was a fierce move. Silver Eye could feel the injury in his body, but he didn't care about it. It was only a slight piece. Suddenly, Silver Eye heard a voice. You want the anonymous account to the virtual universe, Silver Eye? Luofeng's voice echoed. I'll give you a chance to get it, and my condition is pretty simple. I'll trade 1 sensor for 1 treasure, and I'll send my servant to do the deal 3 days later. Whether we have a deal or not is up to you." Silver Eye was dazed, and he looked at the human who had teleported himself and escaped the space-clotted zone. Sneaky human, greedy human, Silver Eye couldn't help saying. Although he did have a strong desire for the sensor, he needed to contemplate whether it was worth a treasure or not. Treasures were scarce in Ice Hell, and he owned the treasures because the Undying captured before had not been ordinary. "Let's go." Silver Eye reversed the space clot and left with his servant. Both Luo Feng and Silver Eye took off. The powerful creatures who had witnessed the battle were awed, as the human had survived the move Silver Look. That was something that couldn't be accomplished even by the top 10 limit emperors, who would resort to burning bodies to flee if they ran into the 5 invincible emperors. This is just incredible. The human will soon be ranked 6th after this battle. The strongest one under the 5. All the creatures couldn't help sharing and discussing this with their friends, since it was a major incident in the tedious Ice Hell. *********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** No wonder he's an invincible emperor, said Ji Hong Emperor. The purple clock could only crack his body instead of smashing him. And I strengthened its power by burning my body. Ji Hong Emperor couldn't help sighing. That was horrendous. His body constitution is more than 100 times stronger than yours, so even if you burn your body, you can only reach his level, said Luo Feng. He shook his head. I grabbed the chance to erode him using the stars covered with Famo venom, which was only a mosquito bite to him. I couldn't even feel that he was weakened. But that makes sense, given how powerful and enormous his body is. He's way taller than a human and wields vigorous godly power. I reckon he won't die even if he has 1 kilogram of Famo venom. 1 kilogram of Famo venom could possibly kill a human invincible emperor. However, Silver Eye was a special creature, which was not easily corroded. I don't know whether he will say yes to my offer or not, thought Luo Feng. It will be more than lucky for me if I can get a treasure with a cheap account. That deal might actually happen. The desire the powerful creatures had to connect to the outside world was understandable. I'll know in 3 days. Luo Feng stopped guessing and started to reflect on the battle. The treasure is indeed powerful. I created the Mozart suitable secret technique to make the best use of it, and it gave me the power to defeat Lightning Racing Emperor, mused Luo Feng. It's such a pity. If he were not here, he would have had at least 1 treasure to defend himself. There weren't enough treasures in Ice Hell. The 12,000 creatures detained in Ice Hell did carry some treasures. However, after an extensive amount of time, almost all the treasures had been claimed by the top emperors. Even so, the treasures these top emperors owned were significantly fewer than those owned by the emperors outside. For instance, Seven-Blade Emperor had a set of 7-blade weapons, together with treasures of defense and escape. In addition to the golden ponds, he had a tremendous number of treasures. It was possible that Lightning Racing Emperor and Bone Emperor were as strong as Seven-Blade Emperor and Haiti Emperor. However, if they were engaged in a real fight, talents like Seven-Blade Emperor and Live Falling Emperor, who were specially trained by their clans, could have crushed the detainees in Ice Hell. Treasures aren't less important than powers, Luo Feng postulated. It's the same for the masters of the universe. Teacher Zhuo Shanku has already provided me with enough treasures. And I need to strengthen my power. 3 days later, on the peak of the iceberg in northern Ice Hell, Ji Hong Emperor stood at the foot of the mountain, addressing the metal person with respect. Master, said Ji Hong Emperor. Stay here, ordered the metal person. Run if something goes wrong. Yes, Master, Ji Hong Emperor answered. After giving the order, the metal person started to hike leisurely. The metal person was Luo Feng, who was using the method of the demon race. The powerful creatures of the demon race would use their body to handle things like these while hiding their real bodies in the world ring, as those powerful creatures of the demon race had enormous bodies. It would have been inappropriate to use their real bodies when adventuring the universe in spaceships. Luo Feng gave a bit of his consciousness in that body so that nothing would happen his physical self, even if that body was destroyed. It's been a long time since I last hiked, thought Luo Feng. It's tiring to hike under the pressure of Ice Hell. Luo Feng hiked slowly. Suddenly, the shadow of the black-armored servant appeared. You come, the metal person said in Luo Feng's voice. Luo Feng had adjusted the pronunciation of the body. It's you. The servant was furious. I can't believe that you come here yourself. I thought you would send your servant here. Wouldn't it be better to come here myself? Luo Feng said. Let's go. Luo Feng vanished with his body. They were inside the spectacular palace when they appeared again. Luo Feng looked up and saw the god, Silver Eye, through the body's optical system. Luo Feng felt had equal the first time he'd seen him, but now the scene was blurry, as the body was being inhibited. Silver Eye, take back your force, Luo Feng shouted. My body can't take this. There will be no deal if the body is crushed. Human, called Silver Eye. Luo Feng withdrew his force. He could easily blow up an entire star with a breath. He was trying not to affect the fragile body. I reckon you're going to take the deal, Luo Feng said. You're not afraid that I'll snatch the sensor? Silver Eye said. Snatch it, said Luo Feng. Have you never known what technology is, or have you just forgotten how the outer world works? This anonymous account is permanent, and it's strictly monitored. I only brought a few accounts here, but I can apply for many more. I can take away your access authority even if you're offered one now. What if you take away my access authority after I make the deal with you? Silver Eye asked. Relax. I won't do something so clearly disadvantageous, Luo Feng said. You have to have faith in my reputation and know that I'm somebody in the human race. I won't damage my reputation merely for a sensor. Good to hear, Silver Eye replied. However, it's completely unfair to trade a treasure for a single sensor. I want 3 of them. I only have 2 in total and need to do business in the future, Luo Feng answered. I'll only give you 1, and that's the final offer. Why do you need 3? You're the only one who needs it, anyway. You can lend it to your friends if they need it. Luo Feng had been born solemn. He wasn't good at negotiations as the human, and he wouldn't bargain if he didn't value the treasure and the sensor equally. 2, Silver Eye said. 1, and that's the final offer, Luo Feng said. There's no use for you to have 2, either. Maybe you want to resell one of them? I'll tell you now that I can totally take away the access authority of one of the sensors, as you're the one I'm making the deal with and you're the only one who can get the access authority. Okay, 1 sensor it is, Silver Eye gave in. Indeed, he was weak at negotiating. Greedy, said Luo Feng. Cunning, Silver Eye couldn't help saying from his throne. Cunning, agreed Luo Feng. This goddamn human is cunning as one can be, the servants swore to one another in a low voice. That was a treasure, which was difficult to obtain. Although the top 10 limit emperors had some of them, they were shrewd enough to avoid the 5 invincible emperors at all costs. Hence, it would be tricky to catch them. This is the sensor. Luo Feng threw the arm-protecting quantum computer to Silver Eye, and it fell once it left Luo Feng's hand. Silver Eye caught the quantum computer in shock. Be careful, he complained. It's too repressive, here, Luo Feng said with a smirk. Besides, my body is too weak. Now that you have the sensor, where is the treasure? I shall try it first. Silver Eye started to test it and connected to the quantum computer, which led him into the virtual universe. Luo Feng said, I've created 80,000 virtual mock accounts for you in case you don't know how to use it. Besides, the scanning function has been turned off and don't you try to turn it on. If you do, your real figure will be shown in the virtual universe. A human dummy will be shown otherwise. You can totally change the size of the body and turn into human shape before turning on the scanning function. Silver Eye smiled. Interesting. These virtual games you humans are playing are quite interesting. Silver Eye looked down at Luo Feng and grimaced. The fear wears off the second I step into the virtual universe. Luo Feng burst into laughter. This is the treasure. Silver Eye threw out a treasure. It was a 3-meter-long viridescent axe. You're just greedy, Luo Feng repeated the point. Glad to trade with you. He smiled. You should be happy, Silver Eye, as I'm going to seclude and cultivate myself. You should know that it's almost impossible to find me, and when I come out next time, which may happen hundreds of years from now, the other 4 invincible emperors will need to satisfy me if they want to deal with me. Go. And stop being smug here, Silver Eye said. Escort Luo Feng out. Yes, master. The black-armored servant teleported Luo Feng. Silver Eye looked afar and smiled. He had obtained 2 treasures in total in Ice Hell, but he had only used one without touching the other. Besides, the treasure he actually valued wasn't ideal because he could wield much more vigorous power by his own move. The virtual universe and virtual games, said Silver Eye. There are so many lives here, and it is filled with hustle and bustle. Wow. More than 1 trillion creatures playing one game. Silver Eye spared a slice of his consciousness and played the game. He needed to relax after being desolate for so long. This anonymous account was, indeed, more valuable than a treasure to Silver Eye. Inside the cave in Eastern Ice Hell, Luo Feng held the viridescent axe. It was thin and looked like a jade. I didn't even know whether it would work when the idea hit me, he said. But now, I actually have one treasure, which is more than valuable. I only got an ice net when I slaughtered all the creatures in Star Tower, and all the other fortunes I got combined were as valuable as one treasure. Luo Feng could feel its power merely by looking at it. He laughed, put it away, and connected to the virtual universe. Inside the practice field exclusive to Luo Feng said between the stars, there's still room for me to improve. I only came up with the first move for both Moon Policy and 1000 Star Sermon Map. As for Ranshan 7 moves, I'm already proficient in the second chapter, and I can totally create the second move based on that chapter and conception of Beast God. On one hand, it would be much more difficult to create the second move, on the other, he was at a higher level. Let's begin. Luo Feng started to create the secret technique. However, just when he decided to fight an opponent, the Castellan of Chaos City appeared in golden rope. Teacher, Luo Feng greeted him with respect. This video will end here.